Anekeme. Anekeme, I mean, you've heard both Dr. Yaya as well as Mogochukwu, but where do you stand on this? Because, I mean, you are a member of the PDP, and, you know, one of the fiercest critics of President Buhari, Governor Fayose, hailed this decision, but believes as well that, you know, there are some political undertones. But in your own opinion, I mean, where do you think this stands?
I must say that, Victor, June 12th is an emotional issue. Every true Democrat in this country will celebrate, must celebrate anything that has got to do with June 12th. A day will mark the freest and fairest election that ever took place in this country. And so all true Democrats, we must underline, are happy and excited that this recognition has actually taken place. Again, what we differ is first with the processes, because it appears this decision was done rather hurriedly. And, you know, the processes are as good as the intentions. You must get the processes right. One of such is the fact that there were grave omissions in those who were honored. Babagana Kingibe, the running mate in that election, honored. Chief MKO Abiola, late, honored. Chief Gani Fawemi, which we do not in any way count. Chief Gani Fawemi fought very and his honor is in place. What we are concerned about this decision is the processes. There was a man who actually conducted this election. His name is Professor Humphrey Nwosu. He ought to be remembered very specially. You know, you must remember the man who actually did conduct this election, than even before the beneficiaries, where Chivenko, Abiola, Babagana Kingibe, and the rest fall into. And there were others who were part of this big struggle. Pa Abraham Adesanya, Professor Wole Soyinka, Commodore Pt.2 Ukiwe was also one of them, and the rest of the frontline people who fought very gravely for the June 12th struggle. They should be remembered, else the entire processes, the entire sense of all of this will be defeated. As Democrats, we're happy about this decision, but it doesn't take away our focus from the task of good governance. June 12th is not a distraction. June 12th is that has been made, but our eyes are fully on the ball, on good governance, on delivery of promises that were made by this APC administration.
Well, it seems the internet is trying to put us under this conversation between us and, of course, Anekeme, but, I mean, you heard him raise some concerns about the processes and those who were omitted, you know, in giving these honors. And, of course, I mean, I think I side with him in terms of Professor Humphrey Nwosu, who was the electoral umpire, you know, as at that time. But do you think that this should have been, you know, far-reaching? Should have been a lot more people than just the three people?
Good lecturer from University of Abuja said,
Nile University.
Nile University in Abuja.
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to agree with him that this was done in a manner that was very fast. I don't think it was thought through, because if this process of honoring these great men was thought through, Professor Humphrey Nwosu should have been included in that list. For him to have done to single-handedly with the team that he worked with to organize an election that, in the history of Nigeria, our election has been characterized with fraud over the last few years. For someone to have done an election that have stand the test of time and is still very important in our history to say this is the freest election we've had so far, I think it would have been nice for Professor Buhari to have honored him the same way he honored MKO Abiola, Babagana Kingibe, and the Gani Fawemi.
Yeah.
But my issue is with Babagana Kingibe. I don't think he should be on that list.
Why?
To be fair, this is the same man that left MKO Abiola and went to work with Abacha. The same Abacha that made sure that...
wasn't he serving the nation?
Who can interpret this thing? Serving the nation is relative. Because at the end of the day...
Because I believe General Abacha called him to serve.
General Abacha called him to serve, but the onus was on him to accept and to deny. But he accepted, and which I believe, no matter what anybody says and try to justify that he was serving the nation, the most important thing that, to an extent, it was done for his own personal aggrandizement. And I think I want to stick with that.
You don't think he should put the nation above his personal feelings or political affiliations?
The truth is that Nigeria suffered under Abacha. So for anyone to come up and
which
line...
is also relative.
It's not relative. The records are there. Under Abacha, we're a pariah nation. And the international community, a lot of nations doesn't want to do business with us. We had issues with Great Britain. So they served Nigeria, but it was to the detriment of Nigerians. Because at the end of the day, what Abacha did as president is still hurting some of us still today.
Just before we go, I mean, Yaya is saying that the whole declaration has no policy effects, but again, just like you said, your eyes will still remain on the ball, which is delivering the promises that were made during the campaigns. But Ugochukwu raised the issue of omitting some people from this list of people that will be honored. Do you share that view as well?
I think is
Sadly, we can't hear you. Sadly, we can't hear you. And I mean, the time is far spent. But I mean, thank you for the effort. Thank you for joining us again on the program. And Eke Mefimba, Senior Special Advisor to the Akwa Ibom State Governor on New Media, as well as Dr. Yakubu Yahaya, Political Science Lecturer at Nile University. Thank you for your time. Let me come back to you on what he was talking about. The National Honors Act. Just in wrapping up, he was making mention of that, citing the fact that the act says if someone isn't alive, I think there shouldn't be basis for such awards.
Yeah, when the president made the pronouncement that MK Abiola, Gani Fawemi will be honored, I think the former Chief Justice Alpha Begore says something that people that are no longer alive shouldn't be on that list. It varies, the legal interpretation varies to all these issues, especially.
Yeah, because Femi Falana challenged him.
Femi Falana challenged him. So I think it will be important to see how this will be solved out in the next coming days. But my issue from what the good lecturer from Nile University said, he was saying something that this doesn't have any policy attachment to what has happened. Right. But I want to disagree with him. Let's bear in mind we're talking about a free and fair election. In democracy, as we're meant to believe, democracy rests on free and fair election. It rests on rule of law. It rests on people having the right to go and vote freely. So President Buhari, in trying to celebrate MK Abiola and late Gani Fawemi, has done something that I think is good, and has placed himself on a pedestal that he shouldn't come down again. So come 2019, Nigerians are expecting him to give us nothing but credible election.
Like the one in 1993?
The one better than 1993.
Let's hope that happens. But I'd have to say thank you. I mean, we can go on and on, but time is never our friend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
On the program. Well, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, we will change gears and, of course, bring another discussion to you. Please stay with us.